the other day in the first series.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about there's an aspect of Buddhism called the collective karma,
Mm-hmm.
where if people are all in the same tune, they work together, they can build a better force in a unifying sense.
Mm-hmm.
But if they have to go off the path, build up their own individual karma, so you do it enough, it can make the collective karma better as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling me to tell you about a
Yeah.
karma and karma.
And V karma.
Yeah.
Bi karma, whatever.
Make sure that you guys continue doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to record what she's reading and her interpretation.
You want me to go over that part again?
Whatever you want to go over, it doesn't really matter. I mean, like,
Mhm.
but this is fascinating. This is definitely
And
fascinating.
It's one thing with our mother,
She passes on stress to her family, which I
she
think
passes on stress, and sometimes I take it on, but I realize that
we're empaths, that's why.
she,
You're making me. Stress is connected to cortisol.
Mm-hmm.
and she,
Has high levels of cortisol.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she can't see past.
Her nervous system has been programmed this way subconsciously, though.
Her mother does the same thing, so do her sisters.
Yeah.
It's because she's really sensitive, because she's really worried, because she can see things for other people that they can't even see for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I'm gonna keep reading. Many of the problems on Earth and within the family relationship can be traced to sex without love, or sex with only conditional love. The spiritual sanctity of sex is not in its right place when sex is treated as something dirty, funny, or less than sacred. Sex is not to be placed outside of my loving acceptance by being labeled something to be outgrown or given up when spiritual awareness is seriously sought. Sex is meant to be evil, is not meant to be evil, base,
I like
Yeah, I
about
know,
your
right?
accident.
not meant to be evil, base, lustful, animalistic, or any of the other judgments it has received. It's basically saying that part, it's like it's been treated as something dirty in like the past ages, like you weren't supposed to do it until you were married, and it was sacred, and in a way it is sacred
it's not
to a
supposed
certain girl.
Yeah.
But it
And guy, it's supposed to be a
and
co-creation.
guy, yes, but it matters on if you love each other. So
The
just-
heart's will is
yeah,
there for
the
each
heart's
other.
will.
But it goes back
Yeah.
to what you were talking about when
Exactly.
what you first talked to me about where
Exactly.
the guy has to touch you to please you.
not to
not-
please himself,
Mm-hmm.
because then there's no love in that.
Yeah.
It's the same way either way.
Yeah. This is such a beautiful book study to be sharing with people
Mhm.
right now. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's not just something like, one night stands just for lust, even though that's pretty normal nowadays.
Because we want to
But
feel
it
better,
doesn't
though. There's
mean
something to that. We
anything.
transfer the DNA.
Yeah.
You transfer
'Cause you're
DNA with
sad,
people
yeah.
when you make love to people. There's literally scientific evidence that says that you transfer and share DNA
Mm-hmm.
through intimacy.
That's
But it kind of takes away a piece of yourself by doing that, because if you don't do it out of love,
You give them that piece of you that
yes,
that
exactly.
they used you and
Exactly, yeah.
yeah.
And
Interesting.
not only that, but you tend to some people regret it because they know it wasn't right. Like for them, it wasn't right because you didn't connect or didn't have that unconditional love or any of that.
I think you guys could really help me a lot with tomorrow's video. I think that this recording this is great and sharing the stuff,
Mhm.
and it's legal in my opinion because we are using it as a study and we are sharing it and we'll promote what it is, and we're just trying to understand to share this with other people. So it's like the way you see the education, how it changes things. But most of all, you guys were very honest about your personal mother stuff, and let me be honest about my personal mother stuff. I deal with the same thing with my mom, dude. But I'm supposed to talk to you guys about this because tomorrow's Mother's Day, and I need to put on my prettiest, happiest face for not just my mom, but for me to be happy, and for everyone to simulate what I am and what I be. But what I'm seeing is I have to honor and respect the shadows. That's why the video is going to be called Shadow Work. It's about facing all my dark parts, and they want me to expose the difference between the light and the dark, the polarities, and then to accept the illusion that's going on, that clearly somebody has all this information, is using it against us, and making us all divide and conquer and not be one. And then plus I need to have that still that that love for my mom still, like I have to make that bloom, and like that connection, and like the way that I make that connection is by basically treating her like everybody else.
And not just for you, your mom, but for you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For the whole though, for the whole, like there's a whole lot of things like that going on.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm being guided is like it's like things that like I'm hearing it, and like I'll say it out loud, but I feel guilty saying it. Like there's a lot of people that would talk shit about my mom about her being a waitress for her whole life and never doing anything
At
else.
least she has a job.
Yeah, there's that story too. Yeah, I appreciate that, but like for me, I hated my mom or whatever because in the waitress world, you have to be like, "Hey, sweetheart,
You have to put
how
on
are
a
you
face.
doing? You all right? Oh, I'm fine."
Put on a face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that acting, and like it made me hate that part of my mom. Honey, sweetheart, like it made me shut down. And like I learned with dudes, you call like all the dudes call your girl babe because you can't remember all your boo's names, so you got a little pet name for me, you know. So like I instantly learned on a subconscious level, oh, you don't like this, you know. But it was something that I rejected in myself and in the whole, you know. But once I started to see what was going on, I could help change things. But I have to accept and honor the shadows first, see where they served and how they served justice. Because even though I may want to change them, they obviously did something that was for some type of good force. Otherwise, it wouldn't have naturally
Lesson,
expressed
yes.
itself as the lesson. Yeah. So please let Chelsea continue because this is amazing. But you guys are helping me get in tune because this was the final part. I had already made the video. I made it, but it's dark and it's selfish because I didn't have some like
Oh, yeah,
I'm
let's
saying
tell
it's
us
my
a lot about it.
yeah, I'm saying it's my gift to the planet. It's my offering, but I made it by myself. Even though I had my friend Brian right there who would have loved to film and do all that. I was like, no, Brian, you stay over there. Even though I'm on your camper land, we're doing all this. And so it didn't come out right. But Brian also isn't the person to fully let me be me because he wants to use me in the ways that he wants to use me. Have me be the servant this way. He wants a woman to do this. And he thinks that I could be perfect because I'm receiving him in all these perfect ways. But it goes so much deeper than that. But I need help being like still loving, even though after I see these predator energies. And like basically I'm going to have to point out the two differences and like I need to have a really good attitude tomorrow and to make this pretty dress and an outfit. I'm going to say this is my offering to the planet and all of her children. And so I am my mother's offering to the planet. And yeah, and so are you. You are an offering to the planet. You are an energy. And you are the offering to take care of Earth. I mean, that is one of the first core things. And then man is to protect. Their action is to protect. And then women are to feel and to create. Oh man, is to protect and destroy. I see it, the strength. Stop it, I just got goosebumps. Does that make sense? Because they're action and we're feelings and we create life and we push this thing. You want to pretend like we're pussies, we're fake? Oh yeah, watch me push this thing and show you what we can handle that pain.
Need to hear this part.
Oh yeah, please get into the whole book. Like
yeah, let's read through this first and then we'll get to that
Okay.
part because I just
That's interesting
understood
that you just now
really good.
Okay, cool.
And you just mentioned that too.
So please give
The
it to us.
questions that some people raise about loose sex are founded in a feeling that something isn't right about it, but it is sex without love and not sex without
But there's still power in that,
social
man.
approval that brings these feelings. Each person must be responsible to himself about this, as no one yet can determine for another on earth whether love is present or not. Just trying to be present to determine this affects the flow between the people, and this is why it is not a matter of settlement by any other than the people involved. You got a low battery.
I don't care. It's deeper than that.
Even though most people on earth have not yet experienced unconditional love for one another, this is now needing to happen and must not be thought to be impossible. Everyone has the experience of loving parts of another person and being very annoyed and maybe even furious over other things that same person does. It has been thought to be that when you love someone, you have to put up with whatever they do that does not please you. This isn't conditional love. The way
It is or isn't?
is conditional love. The way to find unconditional love is to accept and come to peace with everything in your own being, and then, even though it may now seem to be an impossible dream, you really will find that you can love and accept others unconditionally. In this way, The undercurrent dissatisfactions. The undercurrent dissatisfactions that are now present in almost every single relationship, be it husband and wife, brother and sister, parent and child, friends or relatives, will either not be there or will be resolved. Interesting.
Oh, I'm supposed to mention the word impossible.
Mm-hmm.
It says I'm possible.
Mm-hmm.
Your belief is very important.
Mm-hmm.
It can change everything more than you could ever know.
Yeah.
That's why.
Basically, it's also saying, like, don't just settle for conditional love and put up with, like, stuff that you shouldn't have to. Like, even with yourself in the relationship.
Or even with yourself, don't be
Because-
conditional. Like, I can love
yeah,
me if
like
if I do
conditional love,
this.
yeah. Because there is possibility for unconditional love. You don't have to just stay with that. You can open up and, be more unconditionally loving to yourself or others or to the person you're in a relationship with.
Mm.
Yeah, but it starts with you and then goes on to your partner or people around you, basically.
True compassion and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Unconditional love. That's why it's called unconditional love.
Okay. Yeah, I hear it.
The reason an emphasis is being put on sex in relationship to this is when people have sex together, they open their energy fields to one another, and everything they have in their energy fields mingles together. If there is pain, it is passed back and forth. If there is fear, anger, or doubt, this mingles. Anything that is held in the energy field is mingled together during sex. The people involved really do open to each other at all levels of their existence. If the ones involved claim that they have only love and do not accept any of this to dissatisfy the response they have, they are having sex in the presence of denial. Sexual energy is supposed to increase the light on earth, but it has also been increasingly the denial on earth. Personal denial participates in personal reality, but its participation is denied. Denial participates in the reality of sex, but it is being held outside of loving acceptance. Sexual energy is magnetic. Magnetic energy attracts what it is vibrating to. This is can't talk right now. This is the magnetic force of desire. The presence of denial means you attract denial. So many people have increased denial on earth, this way that the ones able to see it have thought that sex brings darkness to earth. The true understanding is that sex in the presence of denial has been bringing darkness to earth. Instead of each situation being seen for what it is, judgments have angered many people, and they have counterjudged that it was just some terrible religious ban and prejudice against people enjoying their bodies. It is not. The understanding of the sanctity of sex has been, for the most part, lost. When openness occurs in the presence of more darkness than light, the magnetic attraction is not for light but for darkness. And this darkness is in a state of denial, and so it is not open to receive light. Not only do people doing this increase their own state of denial and lessen their own light, but the children they attract to be born through these unions are spirits that carry the same kind of energy that was present between the parents at the time of the spirit's conception. You get that, Christian?
Yeah. Did you get
So
that?
basically, you know how when you have sex, you're at your most vulnerable.
But it's also the number one time for manifesting stuff too.
Exactly. Because you are your most vulnerable, and therefore you are your most open. So you are open the most during that time because you are vulnerable.
Oh man, literally.
So literally,
Sorry.
It makes me grateful that I'm still a virgin because
Oh, bro,
Yes.
that's sacred.
sacred.
That's so sacred.
Sacred, yes.
because
Oh my God, that's so sacred. You have to be careful. Virgins fall in love, man. And like, yeah, some girls are gonna try to steal it from you if they find out that you got
He
that.
knows that
Do
already.
not let anybody witchcraft you out of that, dude. Oh my
But basically saying who you choose to have sex with should be someone of good energy because you're going to get what they have.
God. Yes.
And if you attract the same kind of energy, you're going to get the same energy from the same person you have sex
So you have to
with.
build up your electromagnetic frequency energy to attract to you what you need,
Attract someone
and
to
not
love
what you already are.
Attract someone to love you, or you to
To
be
bring you to a
comfortable with
higher
them.
frequency.
Just bring someone higher than someone lower. So if you want someone, if you're having your own denial, oh, this person doesn't love me, I can never find love, I'll just, do one night stands, or I just want to have sex.
Those are all
because
stories, the judgments.
Exactly.
The judgments.
The judgments,
The man believes that he is God.
You're
and
going
that he
to
knows
attract the same thing.
Do you know the Satanist Bible is just about worshiping yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
People who get
Yeah, then your children get the same thing you got from when you
know that?
conceived them.
There's this man I listen to. Granted, he's a pagan now. He's got some very weird things going on with him, but he explained it to me like over a YouTube video, mind you. But he pretty much described Satanism isn't really about worshiping Lucifer as a figure. It's just simply about killing anything around you that seems like it could help
And
better,
thinking yourself a god.
and thinking of yourself
Yeah.
as the only
Higher than
absolute.
everything else.
Oh,
Yeah.
destroying
Mm-hmm.
something that was good.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that you had the power to do that.
Yeah, thinking
God, that's
of
evil.
yourself as the
that's,
absolute.
that's really evil. I get it. I hear it.
Not you as the tool, but you strictly as the absolute and nothing but.
Yeah.
That's
Selfishness.
That's what a lot
That's
of
what it
people
is.
in Satanism.
Cells
Selfishness.
and feelings. And if you don't let yourself be with your cells and your feelings, you'll isolate yourself from everybody. You'll be selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Cells times feelings. Cells, self. Feelings. The F is for feelings.
And a lot of our words come from ancient Greek studies.
Wait, I hope you know. Yeah, but do you know what that is? That's neurolinguistics. Cash flow. Governmente means mind control. Yeah.
Ready to keep reading?
Yeah.
The understanding needed now on earth is that many people, without realizing it, have left themselves open to attract themselves darkness they cannot handle. It is a reflection of what they don't accept in themselves. And it is more than that too, but not something that is going to be further explained right now. This darkness, then, is in themselves and in their own children. Many people think that child raising is not so pleasant, but that it is a necessity. Even though people realize it is supposed to be and claim it is a loving, wonderful experience, the truth of the matter is that so many parents are having trouble accepting their children unconditionally, and vice versa. Many parents have mixed feelings about their children, just the same as they do about their partners. This is no accident. This is the definite relationship. The more alignment you have, the more alignment you will attract in a partner and in your children. The more denial present, the more denial is attracted. The more non-acceptance in the parents, the more unaccepting the spirits will be that get born through them. In discussing this subject, in fact, it is necessary to point out something else. Anytime a parent allows the birth of a child it does not really want, there is an accompanying risk of allowing into the earth a spirit that does not mind overriding the feelings of others in favor of itself. Because this spirit entered earth against the wishes of the ones bringing it into the world. Wow, that's harsh.
Yeah, it's true, man.
Knowing yourself is important so that you can know whether you really want the child or whether confusion about the real and divine will is causing you to accept a child you do not really want. In any case, the child that is not totally wanted is not a child of unconditional love. At present, abortion is actually preferable to increasing the presence of spirits that will deny others in favor of themselves, and preferable to increasing denial in general. Having a baby because society says it is required and abortion is not allowed brings more spirits that are not in harmony with respecting others. Pregnancy is a two-way street. Both the baby and the parents have to be considered. Earth is reaping the harvest of its practices by experiencing the expression of spirits not in harmony with one another. If there is alignment, conception will only take place no matter what day of the cycle, if the parents both want a child, and the right child for them also wants to enter at that time. Living with the fear that unwanted pregnancies are part of life is not necessary. Unwanted pregnancy cannot happen if the persons involved are balanced, and also cannot happen if you use the birth control method you feel is necessary until your body tells you that it is no longer necessary. If you are on your way toward balance and are making this clear, then spirits will not seek to incarnate against your will, because they will know that you will not allow it. During the time balance is being sought, unconditional acceptance of everything that happens along the way is needed. If the reality of unwanted pregnancy presents itself, you have denial you need to find. Look over everything that presents itself about the situation and learn without making judgments. The unconditioning that sperm are madly swimming toward the egg no matter what, and that barriers to this are the only hope, must be released. Sperm can be guided by the consciousness in which they are ejaculated. This is why some people wanting children and having low probability for producing them are able to do it anyway. This guidance is the consciousness of both partners, not just the male or prospective father. The persons involved must both be clear about whether they want a child at this time or not. And the harmony must be at all levels between them, not just mental or just sexual, or just feeling good with each other, or any other partial acceptance. If on the way to balancing you are not finding wholly compatible partners, some birth control is still going to be necessary. So see the situation as evolving toward a time when birth control is a thing of the past, and the balance between spirits experiencing sex with one another is going to increase the light on earth, and guide the process of conception to attract only spirits in harmony with the destiny path of earth. Rest assured that this can happen quickly, but don't pressure yourself to be there before you really are. Allow yourself the space needed to learn what you need to learn so that you can evolve. The outer reflection that will bring this evolution is close at hand, and the conception of a child at this time, I want to remind you, is going to reflect you at this time. You will then have yourself and your child to align at the same time. So unless you can have total acceptance of whatever is going to happen, I recommend a temporary moratorium on pregnancy. Are you saying monitoring?
Where is it?
Right there. Moratorium. I think that means temporary monitoring.
MORATORIUM.
This will not stop anyone from having children if they desire to later. So temporary blocking conception.
Whoa. What about blocking conception? Go back.
It's like those things that women have started using where they put it in their bodies.
I know what you're talking
and
about.
It stops, yeah.
IUDs or something like that.
Yeah, IUDs, yeah. It will protect people from the grief of being perhaps unable to save themselves or their children from what is happening on Earth. As much as possible, the energy now is needing focus on bringing the self.
What line was it showing you that it made you think of the IUDs?
That temporary moratorium. I recommend a temporary moratorium on pregnancy. It said this will not stop anyone from having children if they desire to later.
Interesting.
As much as possible, the energy now is needing focus on bringing the self to the balance necessary for the coming times. Survival will then be ensured, and children can come later. Okay, before we read the rest of that. Did you get any of that?
Which part?
I have to say, what I've heard, it's like, with how crazy the world is today, holding off on having children, at least.
Until you're absolutely sure with
Yeah.
your partner.
But when you're not in denial of yourself or anything,
you
and
have to
neither your
focus on
partner's in
yourself.
denial of anything either.
Yeah.
And that the
So
heart's
basically-
will, the thought, the
Yeah.
feeling, and the being is all as one.
Saying make sure you're in balance of your own self and each other before you bring your child into the world. Because if you're not balanced with your partner or yourself, your child's going to be unbalanced. And it's not going to be open enough to accept the world. It's going to react.
So you have to heal all the energy
It's
centers.
going to react differently. Which
And
is
each
true.
energy seal opens up with different energy, like
It's
breath,
just like a
feeling,
child
different senses,
made from anger is going to be born
feeling,
into
thinking,
anger.
hearing,
Yeah.
something like that.
Child made from fear is going to be born feared or different. So it's saying before you have children, make sure you're correct in balancing yourself and unconditional love with your partner and yourself before you bring that to your child.
Yeah, but some people don't even know, like
'Cause
what
they
it
don't pay
is,
attention
and they're
to that.
judging it, and they want to tell themselves a good story, so they assume, and like.
Oh, don't tell stories. Spirits incarnating now must be able to accept having an entirely wheel-oriented position for the balancing about to take place. If they cannot accept this position, they are heavily denying me, because I have informed all spirits not in the physical plane. You are going to be able to have children and lovingly care for them with much joy if you allow yourself to recover first. Having children without recovering first will bring more pain for the spirit and the will to have to work out. I am recommending that pregnancy be avoided until the spirit and the will are brought to the place where they can do this without any pain. Pain in childbirth, for example, is just another expression of less than total attunement between the spirit and the will, and between the mother and the child. Total attunement never brings a painful or life-threatening situation to the birth experience. The understanding needed is that judgment here is not useful. The pain of the will increases each time it gives birth, without unconditional recognition of this sacredness here. In taking responsibility for attracting spirits to earth, people must realize that they have thus far thorough misunderstandings created a situation that is not allowing anyone to fulfill their destiny path completely. The openings made through The openings made through conditional love have allowed mixed spiritual presence on earth. The openings provided without love have allowed loveless spirits to enter the earth.
Yes, Sandy?
That, yeah.
That's beautiful. Alright, I'm gonna cut this.
Mhm.